Good afternoon, Habs fans. And what a good afternoon it is because we got some big news today. The Habs announced that Nick Suzuki will be the new captain of the Montreal Canadiens, becoming the 31st captain in franchise history and the youngest at 23 years old. He's also the second youngest captain currently in the NHL. Brady Tkachuk holds that title right now. But guys, let's jump right into it. What do we think about this nomination here?
I think this is very good for the long-term future. I'm really happy for Nick. And also, he'll be continuing the legacy that Shea Weber started off when Shea Weber came here back in 2016. And I'm just really happy for Nick right now. And what do you think, Marco?
Well, I think that this was all the news that the Habs fans were, I think for the most part, both expecting and hoping for, because personally, I feel like Nick Suzuki is the perfect candidate to lead the group of the new era of the Montreal Canadiens. So I was thrilled when I saw the news this morning. Sorry, it was very early that we got it. I think my phone was buzzing at like 9 a.m. I was seeing it everywhere. They're early, but hey, great way to start the week on a Monday. Could be a little bit boring of a day, but definitely an exciting one for Habs fans all over. What do you think about it, Shane?
Oh, I was like you said. I mean, it's fantastic news to wake up to. Like, I didn't expect it either, but I kind of did, right? Knowing the golf tournament was today, I didn't expect it that early though. But yeah, for sure, it's great news. And I mean, for those of you who hadn't watched the interview yet, me and Nick had the pleasure of having Nick and his mom on the show, and we talked about them, and we talked about potentially becoming the captain. What he had to say about that was really interesting. And the one thing that he mentioned during our interview that I really loved was the fact that he said it's going to be a team effort, right? It's not just Nick Suzuki, the captain, right? It's a leadership group. And, he talked about it again today. And we saw, Eddie and Gally getting the A as well. Again, predictable, but look at these guys. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Man, it fits them well. So I think, Suzuki won't have too much pressure off the bat. Obviously, it is a lot of pressure being the captain of the Montreal Canadiens, but he'll have a good support group around him. You also have veterans like David Savard, Sean Monahan, Mike Matheson just come in the team here. So I think he's well surrounded. And also Carey Price, he mentioned that he wants to have Carey Price around the team. He likes having Carey Price around him as well. So we saw him at the golf tournament today. It's really exciting stuff. But again, doesn't come without its controversy. A lot of people are saying, hey, Brendan Gallagher should have it. He's the second longest tenured Hab behind Carey Price. He's been there since 2012. How come he doesn't have the C? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I understand. Gallagher is always one of those players that you want your kids to be like when they play hockey. He's always one of those guys who has skill, but he always does the hard work on the ice, blocking shots with his face, blocking shots with hands that he has two broken fingers because of it from Shea Weber, and I think it was Johnny Boychuk as well. But I understand why. It's because Nick Suzuki's here for the long-term future, and Brendan Gallagher has even been open to the idea that that who has to see doesn't matter. It's more than one leader in the room. And I agree with Brendan Gallagher on that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Edmondson can do as well. And also, I know the media were really big on Edmondson, and same here as well. What do you think, Marco?
Well, I think going into it, the three major candidates from the start were always going to be Nick Suzuki, Brendan Gallagher, and Joel Edmondson, which Gally and Edmondson both got the A. So if they weren't going to get captain, that was to be expected, and that's what happened. And I think you could make an argument of why Gallagher would deserve the captaincy the most, considering he's been there the longest. And he sort of exemplifies on the ice and off the ice too what it takes to be a captain and to lead the group. But like you said, I mean, I think that they made a good decision going with Nick Suzuki. And as long as they all feel as if it's a team effort, and like you said, it's not just one leader, it's everybody those three will definitely play a huge part in leading the group. So as well, they have all of those guys now. So it's not just all the pressure on Suzuki or, there's not going to be Gallagher or Emerson being upset about it. It's a team effort at the end of the day, and I'm sure that they're all happy to just contribute in whatever way they can towards the leadership of the Montreal Canadiens going forward.
That's it. I think, the management and Martin St. Louis, whoever took that decision, knew what they were doing, and it was an educated decision. So there's no point in questioning that. Really, everyone's entitled to their opinion. If you thought Galley should have been captain, so be it. But he's not. Okay, let's accept that. And I think his role as an assistant captain is perfect for him. Doesn't put too much pressure on him. The spotlight is not solely on him. I think the balance is there. It's really good. Now, another question mark regarding Suzuki as captain is his age, right? He becomes the youngest captain in Habs history, second youngest in the league currently. Is he ready? Like at 23 years old, is it too much for a young guy?
I mean, for a young guy, it is, but as someone who's met Nick Suzuki, I know all three of us have had the pleasure of doing it.
Yeah.
He definitely is more than ready. And even when he was 19 and I met him, he was like a 40-year-old NHL veteran.
That's true.
Yeah, I definitely think he exemplifies what it takes to be a captain. I fully agree with you there, Damon. And I mean, it doesn't really matter when it comes to this sort of thing what age you are, as well, as long as you're well qualified to assume that role and to kind of lead the group, which I definitely feel like Nick Suzuki is. And I feel like many people could agree. And I feel like it just sort of, like replicates like the era that we're in now, like good young core, and who better to lead the group than the young stud Nick Suzuki himself, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, for me, the timing is perfect. Not only is he ready mentally, emotionally, everything, like he is ready to be captain, but this is the start of his 8-year contract, right? The last long-term captain that we had was Saku Koivu, who was captain for 10 years, right? The other captains stayed for 3-4 years. It's not that long, right? Nick Suzuki, we have him secured for 8 years. Again, we don't know what the future holds, but I think it's safe to say he's going to last his whole contract, and he's going to be an important piece for this team. I love the decision. I am completely on board with Captain Nick and the assistant captains. I think, it adds a little bit of excitement towards the season, which might not be that exciting, but at least, we have a new leadership group, and we'll see how Nick Suzuki fares as the captain. Now, another news that broke today, very controversial, apparently, a lot of division regarding this here. We have a patch on our beautiful jersey. So RBC and Montreal Canadiens striked a 5-year partnership deal. So we'll have that patch on our home jerseys alone, not the away jerseys. Let's clarify that. Only the home jerseys for 5 years, minimum, maybe more. So before we get into our thoughts, I just have to mention, I read on the Habs website here that whoever chooses to add the patch, the RBC patch on their jersey, RBC will donate $20 to the Montreal Canadiens Foundation for every person who adds the patch. So that's really cool. Okay, worth noting. I fully love that. But what do you guys think of the partnership deal here?
I'm happy about the partnership, and especially the logo. At first, I couldn't get used to it, but now I will sort of I'll get used to it, and also I'll be happy in the fact that $20 will go to the Montreal Children's Hospital Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And if I buy another Habs jersey, I'll make sure to buy the one with the RBC logo just to make sure that the money goes to charity.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the patch and just the partnership of RBC alone, in regard to what they're doing for the Montreal Canadiens Foundation, is a huge step in the right direction, and is sort of, it shows the right sort of motives and incentives of what the Canadiens stand for as an organization, as a corporation alone. And I know that they're trying to do a lot more for the Montreal Canadiens Foundation, and boom, this is a good step, to get that sort of thing going. It's for a great cause. Aesthetic wise, I mean, I may be in the minority here, but I kind of like the way that it looks on the jersey. I don't know. It's something that I feel like I could get used to. I'm already sort of used to seeing it right now. I think that it kind of goes, I was thinking maybe if they were going to go with the sponsorship, it'd be with Saint Hubert like they do with the Laval Rocket. I think that would have looked nice on the jersey as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they sort of argue that from a business standpoint, you don't really need to have the sponsorship. They make enough money as is, but I'm sure that they have their reasons. And, we had already talked about the foundation, and, if that's one of the motives or one of the deciding factors towards the sponsorship, then obviously that's a huge bonus. And it's something that I think a lot of fans should be happy about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments saying, the blue doesn't match and all that stuff. Well, they can't really change the actual RBC logo, right? That is the color scheme of RBC. So we have to deal with that. I know it's weird because the Blues are different, and to have yellow on a Habs jersey, or to have a patch on a Habs jersey just feels wrong. But I have a feeling we'll get used to it. I'm not gonna cry and whine about it too much. At least they're involving a good cause into it, so that's nice. But financially speaking, the Habs wouldn't do this if they didn't need to, right? In a sense where, okay, the pandemic made teams lost a ton of money. And most teams are going to have a patch this season. I know the Edmonton Oilers came out and said, no patch, we're not doing that. Good for them. I mean, that's cool, but there has to be a reason behind it, a financial reason. We don't have the specifics. We don't have the numbers to break it down, but I guess it had to be done. We have to live with it now. It is what it is. But what do you guys think about the Oilers? They're saying just no partnerships to this year.
I mean, it's interesting. I thought every team would have to have the ads, and Gary Bettman was saying back in 2016, I'm pretty sure it was, you'd have to be pulling on my legs and pulling me down to put ads on jerseys. But the pandemic, there was definitely a lot of financial losses, and in the hopes that the salary cap and the financial gains can come back, and hopefully we can have a salary cap over 100 million in the near future. And even Bill Daly was saying that the salary cap could go up in the near future. And by the way, more than just 1.1 million or whatever those lines are for the salary cap. These are the steps that are necessary to take. But I hope that we can reach a $100 million salary cap. And I don't mind the Edmonton Oilers doing that personally.
Yeah, I mean, from a financial standpoint, obviously the sponsorship does help out each team who decide to go forward with that. But going more towards the hockey side of it, we kind of have to think this is the first time we're ever going to see sponsors like this showed straight on the patch, like right on the front of the jersey. We see this a lot in soccer and a lot of other sports, but for hockey, that this is a first. And there's a lot of fans out there, maybe more traditional fans, being like, okay, it's been like this for so many years, why change it now? It's a sort of culture thing too, especially with the Montreal Canadiens being the historic franchise that it is. There's one of my friends was saying, like, oh, it's been like this for like literally a century, and now to do this, it's a big change. It's kind of, it's turning a page for a lot of fans, but personally, I don't see it that way. I mean, the Habs colors are always going to be the Habs colors. It's not going to change when it comes to that. But I know there's a lot more kind of like traditional hockey fans that don't like it as much. They'd rather keep it the way that it's always been, basically. I don't know. What do you think about the whole sponsorship thing, and some teams going for it, some teams not going for it, and what it means to the sport in general, Shane?
You know what? Like any added revenue that can be brought into teams and the NHL is a good thing, right? At the end of the day, we want to grow the game whichever way we can. And like Damon mentioned, right, this could affect the salary cap long term as well. So it's a minor inconvenience for our eyes, but I think for the general picture here, it is a good thing. It's helping growing the game and adding, added revenue. So that's never a bad thing. Obviously, you want to make some money. It is a business, right? We hear it all the time when players are traded, but it genuinely is a business. You make money off of a hockey team. So it is what it is, but we'll have to deal with it. I'm sure we'll get used to it in 4 years' time. We'll be like, it's the usual now, right? So it's going to feel weird. It's an adaptation period, but we'll survive. We'll survive, guys. There's worse ads on other jerseys too. So we do not have the worst one. Don't worry. Now, obviously today was the golf tournament. We got some interviews here and there with Kent, Jeff, and Marty, and all that, and we got some health updates. Obviously, some guys have question marks around them. We've talked about them. Carey Price is not looking good at all. Again, his knee is completely screwed, but he did show up to the tournament, which is nice. A nice gesture of him. Paul Byron, Kent mentioned that he will likely not start the season. The hip is still not fully recovered, maybe further down the road. And Sean Monahan still doesn't know, we still don't know if he'll be able to start the season here. So assuming those guys are out of the picture opening night, What are we looking at here? Who is left out? Because there's going to need to still be some guys that don't make the team, right? We have way too many forwards. So instead of just giving a lineup prediction, who do you guys think won't make the team?
Oof, I'm gonna get some heat for this, but I'm not gonna be surprised if Mike Hoffman doesn't make it.
He wasn't at the golf tournament. Worth noting, he was not at the golf tournament.
Yeah, good catch there. I think Hoffman definitely could be a candidate. Maybe Rem Pitlick too. I don't know. I hate to say it because he did have a really good season last year, but I mean, we do have so many forwards now. Our depth now is, like, we're not used to having this sort of depth when it comes to our forwards, especially at center. And you got to find a way to make it work. There's too much talent not to use all those centers that we got, and a lot of those guys got to go on the wing. And obviously, there's going to be people who will take the heat, and obviously, we can't have everybody. Honestly, I don't know what they're going to do. I think that's a decision that Marty's going to have to take and see how players play with each other too, because if it's not working as a team, maybe it becomes less of an individual thing, more of just, okay, it doesn't flow as right. There's more other players, even though they may not be as good as the individuals in question who are on the hot seat of not making the team. If they play better with, the for sure rock solid guys who are going to be on these lines, then, that's something you got to take in consideration too, just how the team plays, because at the end of the day, it's a team sport and you got to win. So that's the way that I look at it.
Yeah, I feel like the odd men out would likely be, Michael Pezzetta. Unfortunately, we love him. I want him to be on the lineup, but if you look at our winger depth, we just have too many, right? So you could see him maybe. I don't know if he's eligible to go down to Laval. I need to check that out if he's waiver eligible. But if he is, I have a feeling we might see him in Laval. Slavkovsky is a guy also that could not make the team right away, right? He could start the season in Laval. Kent has said multiple times he's not going to Europe. He's staying in North America. So it's either the Habs or Laval. So there's always that possibility. Like Damon mentioned, Hoffman, we don't know what's going on with him, right? Is he going to be traded? Is he going to make the team? He wasn't at the golf tournament. We don't know why he wasn't. Let's not, throw stones too early. But I feel like those guys, Rem Pitlick, unfortunately, Joel Armia, if he's still up and down, right? He might be out of the lineup. It's going to be interesting to see what Marty does. And again, today he was asked, how are you going to manage all these forwards, because you have way too many? And even he didn't know. Like, he's going to just go with the flow and see what works, what doesn't, like you said, Marco, and just roll with that. So again, training camp starts soon. The rookie tournament, which we are a part of, starts Wednesday, I believe. So the team practices Wednesday. They play Thursday. So they play 3 games against Ottawa, Buffalo, and New Jersey, if I'm correct. So stay tuned on that. Who knows if it's broadcasted or not? It'll all depend on Buffalo, because that's where it's taking place. But we might get a chance to see Slav in action in a Habs jersey finally. And then training camp right after, and then boom, 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 start of the season. So it's going to be busy here at Habs tonight. Stay tuned. Do not miss any breaking news. We will jump on it, just like today. So as we wrap this up here, Nick Suzuki, your new captain. I mean, it feels nice to say, right? We've been talking about this for so long. Finally happened. We have our guy, boys. We have our guy. All right. So as we wrap up, thank you so much for everyone tuning in. Catch you very soon. Take care, guys.
Cheers.